And what do we have here on thegatewaypundit.com? Breaking exclusive. Crowdstrike and their PR firm now distance themselves from Russia's link to Wikileaks. Huh? Huge development. For more than 3 years of the mainstream media promoted the biggest fraud in U.S. history, that the Russians hacked the DNC's emails and gave the emails they hacked to WikiLeaks, who then leaked the emails before the 2016 election. Now, suddenly, the firm at the center of the fraud, Crowdstrike, is taking a step back from their previous actions related to the entire sham. For years now, the FBI and Mueller investigation claimed that Russia hacked the DNC during the lead-up to the 2016 election. This is central to the Russian collusion narrative. Roger Stone tried to obtain information in his trial that the Mueller team had evidence that Russia gave the emails they hacked from the DNC to WikiLeaks, but corrupt Obama-appointed D.C. judge Amy Berman Jackson would not let him bring this up in his case, even though his charges were based on the entire scam. President Trump indicated that he knew Crowdstrike was at the center of the Russia collusion scam when he made his infamous phone call with the Ukraine's new President Zelensky. The president reportedly said the following. Well, we already know that. This was the transcript between. I'm not going to reread it. The president was interested in Crowdstrike, not the Bidens. The Bidens only came up after the president had the discussion above, and the Bidens were brought up by Ukraine leader Zelensky. So, matter of fact, maybe I should read it. I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say Crowdstrike. I guess you have one of your wealthy people, the server. They say that Ukraine has it. There are a lot of things that went on, the whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the same people. I would like to have the Attorney General call you or your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you saw yesterday, that whole nonsense ended with a very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller, an incompetent performance. But they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you can do, it's very important that you do it if that's possible. So this must have hit a nerve. As it said, the president was interested in Crowdstrike, not the Bidens. The Bidens came up after the president had discussion above, and then it was only brought up by Zelensky. This must have hit a nerve because just a couple of weeks ago, on February 16th, 2020, 60 Minutes had a report authored by Scott Pelley regarding Crowdstrike's claims that Russia hacked the DNC in 2016. Pelley and 60 Minutes made an effort to clear Crowdstrike's name in their piece, where the far-left media outlet suggested the Gateway Pundit pushed conspiracy theories and flashed an image of the 2017 TGP report. 60 Minutes went on to publish the discredited Trump-Russia conspiracy. Pelley, from 60 Minutes, used former anti-Trump ambassador Bill Taylor from the sham impeachment fiasco as his expert witness on the Ukraine. Taylor claims he knew of no connection between Crowdstrike and the Ukraine. Pelley then shared the following in his report. Robert Johnston dealt directly with the FBI as an investigator of the DNC hack for Crowdstrike, a leading cybersecurity company hired by the Democrats. He told us the FBI physically did not examine the DNC servers because Crowdstrike gave the FBI copies of the data from the servers. Quote, if there is a server or computer system of any kind that's involved in the incident, you can take an exact bit-for-bit digital copy of what's on that system. Now that digital copy is just as good as having the real thing, Johnston said. As far as you know, the FBI got what it needed and what it wanted? He asked. Exactly, and evidence of that is you don't hear the FBI complaining. He's right. A former senior government official familiar with the investigation told us the FBI would have preferred to work alongside Crowdstrike's investigators, but the Democratic National Committee decided to give the Bureau digital copies of its servers instead. The official told us this was acceptable, in fact, even typical in FBI investigations. And I'll say this, so there are servers, plural. How do we know they gave them copies of all of the servers? And how do we know the servers didn't have multiple hard drives and they only gave them maybe the primary hard drive? You follow me? But this was not accurate, and it was pathetic for 60 Minutes to spread the ridiculous Crowdstrike statements. And who is Crowdstrike? We reported that Crowdstrike is related to the Ukraine, and this is through Ukrainian billionaire and longtime contributor to the Clinton Foundation, Viktor Pinchuk. We also know Crowdstrike is connected to James Clapper and the Atlantic Group. Pinchuk serves as on the International Advisory Board of a Washington-based think tank called the Atlantic Council. This group is connected to Ukraine interests through its Ukraine in Europe initiative, which is designed to galvanize international support for an independent Ukraine within secure borders whose people will determine their own future. Also serving on the International Advisory Board of the Atlantic Council is none other than James Clapper, who served as Obama's Director of National Intelligence. Funnily enough, Dan Bongino discovered that the Chief Technology Officer of the only company that investigated the hacking of the DNC servers and quickly determined it was the Russians is a non-resident senior fellow in cybersecurity at the Atlantic Council. His name is Dmitry Alperovich, owner of Crowdstrike. We also know that in July 2015, Google invested $100 million into Crowdstrike. Google Capital, the 2-year-old growth equity arm of search giant Google, announced its first security investment on Monday morning. The fund has pumped $100 million into cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike. It was joined by cloud computing company Rackspace, which is a customer, and the firm's existing investors Excel and Warburg Pincus. The new infusion represents a Series C round for the Irvine, California-based company, bringing its total funding raised to date to $156 million. Holes in Crowdstrike's claims. There are many holes with the Russia hacked the DNC emails claim, much of what has already been posted here at TGP, which is the Gateway Pundit. Remember, it was Seth Rich, that's what you're going to find out. It was Seth Rich that physically gave this information, not a hacking job. We will be finding that out when Mr. Wikileaks founder comes on back over to the USA in the very near future. Watch when they testify. Several individuals previously shared that they have sources who claim that the DNC servers were never examined by Crowdstrike. Tony Schaefer on Twitter says, after speaking with my FBI sources and New York Times reporter with direct knowledge of the handling of the DNC server, it's true, there was no direct examination or physical custody of the DNC server. An image or copy of the server was examined only. And again, who's to say the copy given wasn't some old ass backup when the server was first put together? I mean, again, there's many holes I could punch through this. It was also uncovered in the Roger Stone case that Crowdstrike gave the government 3 draft reports on the so-called hack by Russia, which were full of redactions, and the FBI just took their word for it. It was also reported that the DOJ never received the unredacted copies of Crowdstrike's reports. The DNC's lawyer provided the Crowdstrike reports to the government. He said the redacted parts weren't relevant to the investigation. The FBI never looked into it. Okay, fine, no problem. We'll take them. Former NSA whistleblower Bill Biney previously reported he has evidence the DNC emails were not hacked, but copied, most likely onto a flash drive or something similar. Again, that's what you're going to find out. Biney is brilliant. See the documentary on Biney entitled A Good American. It will astound you. Biney has proof for his assertion, but Crowdstrike and the DNC to date have provided no support that it was Russia who hacked the DNC. Biney also claimed that the Mueller gang wouldn't even look at his data because they knew it would show something different than what they presented in their final bogus report, also known as the Mueller report. Applebaum's argument. Cybersecurity expert Yakov Applebaum says the 60 Minutes and Crowdstrike claims are completely false. If Crowdstrike gave the FBI any data, it was drive images. We don't even know which ones. This did not include memory dumps, network pocket captures, firewall activity, etc. This additional data is crucial and should have been examined in real time by the FBI. If indeed any drive images were given to the FBI, these would have been contaminated because they continued to use these drives for weeks after the alleged hack. Crowdstrike was completely wrong, mostly intentionally, about the Russian hack of the Ukrainian artillery allegation. And as we know for a fact that they used the same forensic techniques to reach that conclusion as they did on the DNC hack. Applebaum posted a report in January 2019 with information basically proving that the DNC was not hacked by the Russians. The same guys were working on both projects, which has all been impossible. It says 3 of the Russian GRU officers on the DOJ wanted by the FBI list were allegedly working concurrently on multiple non-related related projects, like interfering with the 2016 United States elections, both Hillary Rodham Clinton DNC, while at the same time they were also hijacking anti-doping agencies. Above are the pictures of the individuals the FBI says are working on both the DNC HRC email hacking and the Olympic doping projects. The same guys were working on both projects, which has all been impossible. Do we really even know if they're real people or even real Russians? Applebaum argues the fact that the 3 had multiple concurrent high-impact and high-visibility project assignments is odd because this is not how typical offensive cyber intelligence teams operate. These units tend to be compartmentalized. They are assigned to a specific mission, and the task force stays together for the entire duration of the project. Wikileaks. Most importantly, we know that Wikileaks has stated numerous times that Russia did not provide them with the emails they leaked in 2016, and Julian Assange has stated that WikiLeaks had nothing to do with Russia. But of course, the Mueller gang never interviewed WikiLeaks or Julian Assange in an effort to determine how they received the Clinton emails. Of course, the Mueller team could not risk WikiLeaks saying the emails were not received from Russia, which would destroy the Russia hacked the DNC fairy tale. Crowdstrike's new efforts to save face. Yesterday, we discovered that Crowdstrike has reportedly obtained a PR firm to help backtrack their bogus claims. A week ago, Personal Liberty ran a Wire story originally published in the Los Angeles Times. In the article, editor's notes, we added in places where the LA Times piece reported fake news. One of the editor's notes concerned the MSM mainstream media trope that Russian intelligence operatives stole and released thousands of internal emails and other documents in an effort to boost Trump's chances, according to U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies. The editor's note was as follows. This is fake news. While it's oft repeated by the propagandists in the mainstream media and legacy corporate media, there is no evidence that the emails were stolen and released by Russian intelligence operatives. The emails were released by WikiLeaks and an entity called Guccifer 2.0. WikiLeaks denies it got them from any Russians, and Julian Assange has hinted that they were stolen by murdered DNC operative Seth Rich. The FBI was denied access to the emails, and the conclusion that they were stolen and released by Russian intelligence operatives was made by the DNC-hired cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike, which has ties to Ukraine oligarchs and the Council on Foreign Relations. A few days later, this past Tuesday, Personal Liberty reportedly received an email from John Eddy, executive vice president of the PR firm Golden. In the email says this: "My firm works with Crowdstrike, and we read your article titled, 'Trump Seeks to Boost Sanders and Foment Discord Among Democrats.' We need to request important updates to the article. The article states that the FBI was denied access to the emails, and the conclusion that they were stolen and released by Russian intelligence operatives was made by the DNC-hired cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike, which again has ties to Ukrainian oligarchs and Council on Foreign Relations. This is incorrect. Crowdstrike's founders have no connections in Ukraine. The company also provides all forensic evidence and analysis to the FBI that they requested, and the conclusions have been fully supported by the U.S. intelligence community. Additionally, Crowdstrike was hired by the DNC to respond to the suspected breach of its servers and did not do any investigations around the release of the information." Oh? Could you please update the article for accuracy to reflect or clarify that Crowdstrike does not have ties to Ukraine? and that the company was hired by the DNC to investigate the hack of servers. Note the phrase from Crowdstrike's PR firm stating that Crowdstrike did not do any investigations around the release of the information. Update, we contacted the Crowdstrike PR firm, Golden Solutions, and they confirmed their email to Personal Liberty. Now, after 3.5 years of the fraudulent Russia collusion scam being repeated so often that half the America believes the Russian hacked the DNC and gave their emails to Wikileaks, Crowdstrike announces that it had nothing to do with the assessing that Russians gave the emails to Wikileaks? So why is Crowdstrike announcing this now? Are they liable for fraud by not announcing this years ago? Their lack of response allowed the coup against the President of the United States to progress. If they didn't confirm the Russians gave the emails to Wikileaks, well, then who did? The Mueller report clearly states that Russians hacked the DNC and gave the hacked emails to Wikileaks. So if Crowdstrike now claims they didn't confirm that Russians gave emails to Wikileaks, then who the hell did? We believe that both Robert Mueller and Crowdstrike are lacking some candor, to say the least. The year is 2020. Shit is going down. People are getting in trouble. People are stepping down, resignations. And again, we got a virus on the loose. I think some people who are about to get in trouble want you focused on something else and not this. And that something else is causing deaths and sickness and cruise ships to be parked offside, out of port. Quarantine. Don't look over here at this great news exposing the fraud. Nope. Look over here and get scared. The timing is incredible, isn't it? Take care.